Hello friends, doing a bit of a different kind of video today where I'm combining my thoughts about the concept in a hymn with singing the hymn itself. Today, I want to talk about Amazing Grace. It is one of the first songs that I learned to sing when I was in choir because, well, it's kind of hard to find a more Christian song than Amazing Grace. Almost every denomination uses it. Not only is it a song used by almost all denominations, it's also a song that it's fun to sing, it captures emotion, and even people who aren't Christian often still have a favorite version of Amazing Grace. It's just become part of the cultural zeitgeist of the United States. And so, I'll start by just singing the first verse. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. So let's look at that first verse a little bit. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Grace is the concept in Christianity that there is a power through Christ which redeems us, that saves us from what has happened to us. In the first verse, it actually references several events in the New Testament where Christ performed miracles on behalf of those in need, cured blindness, helped those who were lost spiritually to find their way. Grace is often misunderstood by just people in general, where instead of being this nebulous concept, it is literally a power. It is a manifestation of faith where we gain the ability to continue going through trial, that we could continue making it through the problems of our lives. To look at a definition based on the Bible, looking at the Bible from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because it's what I have in my house. And in their dictionary, it says that grace is a word that occurs frequently in the New Testament, especially in the writings of Paul. The main idea of the word is a divine means of help or strength, given through the bounteous mercy and love of Jesus Christ. What this means is, for Christianity, grace is the concept that empowers and protects us. It is where divinity reaches down and helps us when we lack the strength. So let's move on to verse 2. If my computer will agree with me. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. This verse encapsulates the concept that there's different definitions of fear. First off, the first definition of fear is to fear God, or in more modern vernacular, to respect God, respect divinity. There is a reason they are divine and we are not. We are going through this life to gain opportunity, to gain knowledge, to gain growth. They've already done all that. They have reached divinity. So, grace, my fears relieved, that's talking about your mortal experience, your mortal fears. And it is through that sustaining power from divinity, from God, that we gain that strength, that power to move forward. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believe. Divinity, regardless of the religion you participate in, usually only helps us when we believe in them. We have to take action. And that action can be very simple. It can be as simple as saying, I need help. It could be as simple as calling out their name. In Christianity, this is very common as believing that Christ is your Savior. Reaching for that help of our Savior and saying, I understand. I am nothing on my own. I need help. To born-again Christians, that's all you need. To cry out to Jesus, and he will help you. He will bestow his grace upon you. Different denominations have different ideas and definitions of what it means to receive grace. Many require you to be baptized. Some don't. Some require baptism by water. Some also require baptism by fire. All of these things are described in the Bible. And as time has passed, as people often do, they started disagreeing about what all of these things mean. That's why in the Catholic Church you see infant baptism, and in the LDS Church you don't see baptisms until the age of 8. What matters is that they are trying to reach assistance. Doesn't matter a lot the nitty-picky details, at least in my personal opinion. Which, I mean, you're free to take it or leave it. I know people have argued about this for centuries. My opinions are not particularly unique or particularly new. It's just, I feel like it's important to hear this viewpoint that what's more important than the idiosyncrasies of each denomination is the fact that they are seeking to do good, that they are seeking to become better. And I think this is true of all religions. So if we move on to the next verse. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. This grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. So this verse includes the concept that we're only going to make it back to God, going to make it back to heaven, through the grace of God, through the grace of Christ. This concept is very common across Christian denominations. Where I grew up in the LDS Church, and grace isn't talked about quite the same way. It's essentially just, we know that Christ is our Savior, and God will help us as we are obedient to the laws of God. As we follow the commandments, we'll receive the power we need to be successful. But that's really the limit of the conversation about grace in the LDS Church. As I've talked to people who are part of other denominations, they talk a lot more about grace. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Actually, I think the LDS Church could stand to do a little more talking about grace itself. Instead, they talk about the atonement a lot, which is also fantastic, also very good, but that causes a conversation disconnect with other denominations. It causes unnecessary strife. So this verse is acknowledging that grace brought us through trials before, and it will bring us through trials again. It's an acknowledgement that we have been helped. It's expressing our gratitude. The last verse that I heard most often is this. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. So if you notice, that last verse is the first verse again. It goes in a circle, as does the concept of grace. Just because grace pulled you through one trial doesn't mean you're done. You still got to keep going. Still rely on that divine power in your life. But isn't that what life is all about? Going in circles. Bringing us back. Hopefully not just circles, but spirals, ascending, going higher. But we tend to go in that cycle of, I thought I learned this lesson. Why am I going through this again? And that's okay. We're here to learn after all. So that is Amazing Grace and some thoughts about it. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.